Your Casper move's been canceled. I know, not what you expected this video to be about, but it is nonetheless because this is a scenario that I see happening time and time again, honestly, more frequently than I can shake a stick at. So I wanted to go through in this video the reasons why your Casper move may be paused or canceled. And yes, that's after you've already started telling family and friends about the move. And that's after you've already talked to a listing agent about putting your home on the market and you've talked to movers. And that's probably already after you've gotten pre-approved with a local lender here to buy your Casper home, but probably not before you've told your boss, right? But here's the deal. What I have noticed is as you start taking action to make this move a reality, what seems to happen is opposition kind of works its way in some fashion. And then before you know it, you are giving me the call of, hey, we got to put this on pause or we got to cancel it altogether. So I thought that I would go through in this video what that looks like typically. And by the way, the reasons why your move may be canceled or paused are typically all very valid. So I want you to know that going into this video. So spoiler alert. Number one, family issues. So I'm sure you're going to be shocked to hear this, but there are some individuals that are moving here to get away from family.
Why you want to leave me?
But there are others that are moving here that have very tight-knit families, and as they share the information about them possibly moving, it can create some tension. And most of it is for good reasons. Most of it is because the family loves you and they don't want to see you go. And if you've been fortunate enough to live nearby family, not having you there is going to be really hard. And so that is something that I see happening a lot when people are in the middle of trying to get a move going. Other things that I've seen happen are maybe relatives' health conditions have changed. Maybe you had a parent who you thought was going to be okay with you leaving in terms of their health care issues. And then, as you get the ball rolling, that changes. And maybe they have a decline in their health and they need additional support and you're the one that's going to provide that. Or maybe you were planning on that relative to move with you, but for whatever reason, that's just not possible anymore. And so that pauses things. So there are so many different family dynamics that play into a move that it's not uncommon for that to completely stop or pause a move. So that's something that I see very frequently. Okay, number two, getting cold feet about the weather. And this is a big one. If you are moving here from the south or from the west coast, this is going to be a big change for you. You probably have never had to learn how to drive in the snow. You may have never even shoveled snow. You may not even have a thick enough jacket to handle what Wyoming throws at us, okay? So it is a big adjustment. And I think that when you first come out here, especially if you're coming out in the summer, it is so beautiful that dealing with winter is probably the farthest thing from your mind. But let me assure you, winter will show up. Usually we get our first snow by around Halloween. If you lived here a very long time, people will tell you that it's not uncommon to get snow on Labor Day. But winter will appear. And if you've thought about it enough, it may end up worrying you because it is a big adjustment. So I would say the number two reason for why I get phone calls about changing your Casper moving plans is because of the weather and getting cold feet and learning how to drive in our crazy weather, which is a challenge. I'm not going to lie. Even though we keep the roads plowed nicely out here, it's just a new skill to have to learn how to acquire, learning how to keep enough space between you and the other vehicles, learning how to look at the road and gauge if it's going to be iced over. Also planning for when wildlife jumps out at you, when the roads are iced over. Like, these things happen. And so it is a big deal. And I completely understand when people get nervous about it because it's legitimate. All right. Number three is getting sticker shock about housing prices. So I have mentioned in many, many videos how I think people may come to Wyoming thinking that it's going to be significantly less expensive. And depending on where you're coming from, it very well may be. But you have to be realistic about what your dollars are going to get you. While yes, we are cheaper than a lot of other areas in the country, there are still parts of Wyoming, including Casper, that can be more expensive. And if you are hoping to get a 3,000 square foot home that's a newer construction for under 300,000, that's just not reality. And so I think it's important that when we start having these discussions about your move and what you're looking for, that we also are rooted in reality with what your budget can get you. I truly believe that we can find you a home that's right for you. It may not be necessarily what you had in mind, but I think we can get a lot of your boxes checked. Again, if we're rooted in reality with how your dollars translate into real estate out here. So it's very good that we have these conversations before you come to make sure that what you're looking for is achievable. Most times it is, but I think some people do get a little sticker shock about how much it costs, especially if you're looking for acreage. I think that's where people tend to get surprised, is when they're looking for, those 10 to 40 acres to do the homestead life, which is wonderful, but that definitely comes with a price. So there you go. Number 4 is going to be the community fit. So I've said many times that I think Casper is a fantastic community. It's wonderful for individuals. It's wonderful for families. We are a very involved community. The community really shows up when people are in need. The community shows up just to create a good culture in Casper. But if you don't like that tight-knit community and you kind of like to keep to yourself and you don't want to build those relationships, well, then Casper very well may not be a good fit for you. I mean, I'm just telling you straight, because Casper is all about community and it's all about who you know and having those connections, making friends. You just kind of need that out here. Otherwise, you are going to feel very isolated. And some people do well like that. But I would recommend that if that is not who you are, if you are not inherently wanting to have those relationships and build community, then Casper just may not be a great fit for you. I'm not saying that Casper isn't for you. I'm just saying it may be a little challenging for you, because I would say 90% of the population here is very much community driven. So keep that in mind. Number 5, schools, and being concerned about, will your kids adjust well? So out here, we do have school of choice. The Natrona County School District is a school of choice district, but that doesn't mean that you're always going to get the school of your choice, believe it or not, because it depends on priority, it depends on availability, it depends on quite a few different factors. So depending on when you are registering and what the availability and priority lists look like for the district, it's possible that your top 1 or 2 schools may not be available. And so in that case, you may be dissatisfied with the options available for your student. So I would say that that is something that I've heard concerns about, especially recently, because I think parents, ever since the COVID days, are hyper aware of what type of education their children are getting and are more involved and are truly just wanting the best for them. And not that we didn't want that before, but I just think there was a spotlight placed on education, especially during the Zoom days. And so now it's ever important for parents to try to make sure that they are getting their students the education that aligns best with them. So yeah, sometimes the schools aren't working out to your favor in terms of what you'd like. And that can cause you to have second thoughts about the move, because you got to get your child educated, right? So that's another reason. Okay. The next reason, your spouse or partner isn't on board. Oh my goodness. This happens so often.
What do you want? What do you want?
It is so common to have one partner or spouse being all in and the other one being either A, all out, or B, being extremely cautious about the move. And in those scenarios, it never works out. So I would say if you are pondering a move and your spouse or your partner is not on board, it's more than likely not going to work. You have to be on the same page, unless you want to come here single, which we don't want that, right? So yeah, it is so very important for your spouse or your partner to be on board with this move. It's ridiculous because you are going to be going through some massive changes, even just dealing with being stuck inside during the wintertime with this individual. Like, if you don't have options, if you're not in this together, it's going to cause some problems. So I would say the next reason why the Casper move is paused or canceled is because the other partner or spouse just can't get on board, and that's okay. All right, number 7, health-related reasons. If you have a chronic illness that requires specialty care, that may give you pause about moving here. That being said, Casper has done an amazing job recently in trying to recruit more healthcare professionals to offer more healthcare options to the residents here. And so you might be surprised at what you can have done in terms of your healthcare treatments and whatnot here in Casper. But that being said, if you do require specialty care and you're not open to having to make frequent trips down to either Denver or Salt Lake, well then Casper may not be a good fit for you. But again, I would encourage you to research what your health conditions require and verify whether they can or cannot be treated here in Casper, because I would say I have been pleasantly surprised lately in just knowing what individuals are dealing with in terms of healthcare issues and what they're able to get done here in Casper. But with related to healthcare issues, I will say this. I did have a couple last year that was very interested in moving to Casper. They were from the South, and the husband actually had an autoimmune disorder. And while they were here on their discovery trip, checking out Casper, he noticed that he was getting very dizzy and nauseous, and it was not pleasant for him. And he later learned that the altitude was affecting his autoimmune disorder. And so it may just not be a great fit from the get-go, depending on what your health condition is. Because if you have an autoimmune disorder that's going to flare up due to the altitude change, and that can't be controlled with medicine, or maybe you just don't want to control it with medicine, well then this may just be a no-go from the beginning. So definitely research what your individual healthcare needs are and whether or not Casper can be in alignment with that. Number 8, making a career change and concerns about limited opportunities for promotion or professional growth. So that can be a very real concern, because depending on what industry you're in, and if you are the kind of person that likes to continuously grow and change and have room for, earning more income and for taking on more responsibilities, well, depending on what type of job you accept here, that may be limited. So that is a very legitimate concern in moving to Casper. I would say, that being said though, there are tons and tons of opportunities when it comes to jobs here in Casper. I would say that when people worry about finding a job in Casper, that's typically the least of my concerns when we're having these discussions, because I just think that there's so much churn that happens in Casper that there's always work for folks who are looking for it. It may not be the job that you want, or it may just be a stepping stone. But if you need a job and you're looking for work, I strongly feel like Casper has plenty of opportunities for that. But again, if you're in a specific career path and you're concerned about opportunities for growth or professional promotion, yeah, it's a legitimate concern depending on what you do. So there you go. Number 8, I'm going to say the what if can create analysis paralysis. So it's very natural when you are preparing for a huge life shift for your brain to start running 1,000,000 miles a minute, running through all these different scenarios of why things might work or of why things might not work. And I would say, because we are creatures of habit and change is hard, oftentimes we allow the reasons why something won't work to overthrow the reasons why something may work. So I would say the what if syndrome definitely has a way of taking hold when you are in the middle of a major relocation. And so it's very common that you just get, again, that analysis paralysis. You get scared, you get nervous, and you just decide that it's better to stay put than to make a change. And that's okay too. And the final reason why you may pause or cancel your Casper move is because you're just not ready. It's a big deal moving to a place like Casper. We are small. We are fairly isolated. We deal with super harsh winters and crazy wind, and we don't have a lot of the amenities that some of the bigger cities have. And so you have to learn to just make do with what you got or learn to Amazon it, right? It is so common that sometimes it's just not a good fit, and there may not be any one particular reason to pinpoint it on. But nonetheless, if any of these apply to you when you are trying to research if Casper is a good fit for you, I'm always going to encourage you to err on the side of caution than to just go for it and get here and be so upset and disappointed. Again, we want this move to be a blessing and not a burden for you. Now, I can tell you a million different reasons why I think Casper truly can be a blessing, but that's unique to each individual. So again, while it might be a great fit for me and my family, it just might not be for you, and that is okay. But with that said, I have created a relocation guide that I think will be super helpful for you if you are contemplating making the move. So in the description below, I have put a link where you can access that relocation guide. Take a look at it. It's filled with information about Casper, including stats, places to visit, restaurants to eat at, a whole bunch of goodies. And I think that you'll find it helpful, especially if you're just planning what I like to call a discovery trip out to see if Casper is your vibe. So definitely get that relocation guide in the link. And with that, I just want to encourage you that I am here for you. If you are thinking about making the move, or let's say you've already decided you're making the move, give me a call, text, or email. I would love to help you make this move your best one yet. Again, I'm a transplant myself, so I've been in your shoes. We can navigate all of the challenges of this relocation together. It would be my absolute honor. So with that, please take care, and I will see you in the next one.